Hi to everyone. In my journey around the world, I meet many interesting and inspiring people. I like to talk to them, to share stories, to learn from them. And I decided to set up a new section on my YouTube channel where I will share with you my conversations with some of them. And I hope that you will learn and get inspired from them as much as I do. It is my pleasure to introduce my guest today, a famous motorcyclist, traveler, photographer, videographer, and just an amazing person from Norway, Thomas Hansen. We met a few months ago during my journey in Norway, and he helped me a lot with some tips and advice, with useful information about traveling in this beautiful country. And I'm very happy that he agreed to share now some of his knowledge and his insights. You're welcome to join our conversation.
Hello, Thomas. It's nice to see you again, this time online and Zoom.
Yeah, thank you. And right back at you. It's really nice to see you again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, a long time no see. Happy New Year to you, and wishing you all the best in this new year with lots of new adventures, beautiful roads, and all your wishes and all your dreams come true.
Thank you, and right back at you. It's Happy New Year to you as well. And it's been a strange year, to say at least. So I just hope that 2022 will be better than last year.
Let's keep our fingers and toes crossed and everything.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for joining me in this conversation. And I have to say that I really feel privileged to have met you at the beginning of my journey in Norway, and for all your tips and advice. I have to confess that I was coming totally unprepared. Okay, maybe not totally, but I didn't know much about Norway, and I was just kind of taking my chances. So I think that it was really good luck for me to meet such a knowledgeable person as you right at the beginning of my journey. So I'm really thankful that you agreed to share some of your knowledge and some of your tips about traveling in Norway with our guests, with the people who are still planning their first trip in Norway, and just for all kinds of travelers. So thanks a lot for your time.
It's my pleasure, actually. I've always been the kind of guy that when new people comes to Norway and visit, I feel it's kind of my privilege to share and to give people a good experience when they're first here, because every time you go online and you see Norway, you kind of get all the tourist spots that are so popular and everybody has to visit, but still there's so many hidden gems around in Norway. And for me, living here, to kind of be a local guide, it's for me, getting the feedback from people who have visited Norway and tell me that I went to the camping spot you recommend, or I went to the place you told me to take up my camera and take some pictures. It was amazing. That gives me so much joy. So for me, it's just a privilege to help out and make others have a great experience.
Yeah, that's incredible that you're ready to share this, not just to keep it for yourself, and I really appreciate that route that you gave me, from Bergen onwards. I followed every step of that. And
I saw that on the video. It's kind of like...
Yeah, that was amazing. And now I'm catching up with some videos from Norway, and I'm kind of reliving this again, the same time. And oh my God, this is so precious, so precious. Yeah, I can say that I got addicted to Norway. So I will come back again and again and again.
That's nice to hear. And if you come back, you have to promise to come back to the West Coast, and I can join you on some of the trips or show you some places if you're up for that. I know you like to travel alone. I do respect that, like we talked about on the ride, but still, just send me a message and I will accommodate you or give you some great tips for other places to see as well.
Yeah, I definitely will. So Thomas, for those people who haven't been to Norway yet, but who really want to go and they don't know where to start with, so what would be your advice to these newcomers, how to get started with planning your trip to Norway? Some things to keep in mind and to sort out before actually you set off to your journey in Norway.
Oh, yeah, there's, it's like, I just have to give the same tips I do myself, because every time I go to a new country that are not that familiar to me or stuff, I try to do some research about the country. I try to do the top 10 places to visit in the particular country, and I try to see what places of the country comes up. And for me, I'm kind of like a photo and video guy, so I really like the scenic and the historical stuff. So I try to try to plan according to that. And I know some of the countries have great World War II history. I know some places have really nice scenic mountains. So I try to do a little bit of research on the internet before, and I try to use Google Maps a lot because that is a great resource for info like that. And then I try to search on YouTube on the country and try to see if I find videos that gives me an idea of how the roads are, how the nature looks like, and how everything, just trying to build a picture of how the country is. And then I try to just get in touch with people who lives there, try to reach out on Instagram or reach on group on Facebook and stuff like that, and ask them if they have any good tip for places to visit, and just try to build on that. I try to do a lot of research, and I highly recommend other people to do the same. Of course, you can go to Norway, take the ferry over, and just start your journey, but you will miss out on so much. It would just be the normal roads going from A to B, but there's so much more that Norway has to offer.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I can confirm that. When I was traveling in Norway, I always had this analogy in my mind that Norway is like a huge candy store. And especially for someone like me, a sweet tooth. So you're entering and you just want to buy and to try everything. But I mean, it's just impossible. You cannot afford to buy everything, and you cannot even eat everything. So when you're searching about Norway, there's a huge amount of resources on YouTube, on Google, everywhere. So how actually to get to those top 10 places in Norway that you can start with, for someone who have no idea?
I know that there's one site that is pretty good that's called Visit Norway. They have a great kind of like first time visiting Norway manual. It's kind of like show off some of the places like Geiranger, like Lofoten, like Nordkapp, Lindesnes, where the southest tip of the Norway, and that kind of gives you a general idea. But it all depends on what your favorite flavor is. It's kind of like, do you like nature? Do you like hiking? Do you like motorcycle stuff? Do you like food or culture things? It's like we have a lot of war history. We have a lot of museums. We have a lot of music. And so it's kind of like, I say that Norway is built in five different sections. It's kind of like the south, you have the east, and you have the west, and you have the middle, and you have the north. And everything has something else to offer. So it depends on, it really depends on what your flavor is. But I feel like Visit Norway has some really good tips and information. And other from that, it's just search. I don't have a specific site that gives you the recipe. It's just like there's so much information, as you say. But I feel like Visit Norway is kind of the most valuable site actually for common people.
I think that first we have actually to make up our mind what we are interested in, if this is the nature or the history like you mentioned, and then to make like a more profound research in that niche, because you cannot cover everything in one visit.
No, you can't. Yeah, it's because it's stretched out so far, it takes so far. But in the southern part or the southern region of Norway, there's a kind of short distance to get from the east to the west side. So you kind of can cover a lot of distance in one day, but still there's so much in between all the places. So you really need to do a specific search of what you're most into, like the nature stuff, the mountain stuff, or what time of year you would like to travel. Sometimes some people come here just to get the snow or just to get the skiing, and other people are coming just for the food. Do some easy research, do some easy search on Google of what you are into specific, and just follow the sites, because there will be a lot of good top 10 searches on Google, for example.
Yeah, I'm always saying the same when I have kind of similar questions. You have to do your homework. There's no one in the world who will do it on your part. Only you know yourself the best. You know your preferences, and there's no one that can give you this exact answer to this question.
Yeah, and I think that is a really good point, because I get so many requests online, and I really appreciate that. But I get so many requests that people kind of want the perfect recipe. And every time I need to kind of make some research from, okay, what do you prefer to watch? What do you prefer to see? What do you like, gravel roads, or do you like tarmac? And I kind of need to do a lot of research into them before I can build a route for them, or I build or give them recommendation of where to go. And that, I feel that there's a lot of people that just want to come and have everything served. But it's like you say, you really need to do your homework if you want to get the best experience for yourself. There's so many options.
Yeah, totally agree with you. So you touched already about traveling in Norway in wintertime. Yeah, coming for skiing, that's one thing. But actually, I already know a couple of people who are going to Norway specifically in winter on the motorcycles. And some of them are aiming North Cap. I mean, in December, January, which is the most harsh season in Norway, I suppose. So what do you think of this idea? Like, to be honest, right? And what would you recommend to these people?
Those guys are crazy, just hands down. It's just, I can't imagine anybody sane going to Norway in wintertime on two wheels. It's slippery, it's a lot of salt, it's miserable. And I've been riding a lot 3 seasons and in cold and wet weather. And when it's under 5 degrees Celsius, it's just a pain to ride around. And the fogging in the visor and the helmet and everything is just so damn difficult. But that is probably kind of the whole idea, to get to the extreme. I see that's kind of in every sport actually. But there's some easy thing to be aware of. It's nice to plan the routes, because some of the mountain passes will be closed because of terrible weather and stuff like that. So it can be very difficult to get from the west side to the east side, or vice versa. Okay. And from Dovre over to Trondheim, we have one little mountain pass over Hjerkinn that can be closed if the weather is terrible. So you need to do a little bit research about the weather. And of course, you should probably get spikes in the tires, so you have a little bit control. I actually saw a guy online having skis mounted to the side of the bike, so he didn't fall down. It was just what the. But and of course, you need heated gear. You need the flaps that you have on your handlebars, and just to make sure that, because another part in Norway that is it's probably like that in all of Europe actually, but the amount of hours a day you have daylight is really restricted in the wintertime, because and the longer north you get, the less light you have. So there will be a few hours a day where we have daylight, and so that can be a challenge. And because of wild animals crossing the roads and stuff like that, and you need to be, when you have the snow blowing up from the street, even if it don't snow from the sky, when you drive, it's kind of building up the snow when the car passes and stuff. So even with lights on your bike, it can be really difficult to see in the dark. So I would just imagine really gear up for winter riding and do some proper research. And of course, have a little bit of mental issue. I would not recommend it. I wouldn't do it myself. No chance.
Yeah, me neither. I also consider these people as crazy. But again, some people think that I'm crazy too, even though I'm not riding in winter in Norway, So this craziness thing is very relative,
Yeah, so, I know. But it's more like I'm really impressed by those guys, because it's I would really like to try. When I see the videos or the pictures from the guys who does it, it's just like, whoa, it looks really cool. But then I go outside camping in the winter. Is it? Nope, not going to happen. I hate to freeze.
So as a Norwegian, you would not do that. You would not ride on your motorcycle to North Cap in winter, no?
Nope. No chance. No, I think Norway has so much more to offer on the other seasons. And it will always be like that. Some people are crossing the North Pole and some people are crossing Greenland and stuff like that. It's just days going in the dark on skis and just getting into a terrible some people are just into that, and I respect it. I do understand why some people choose to do it, but I've never done it myself, so I can't actually give any recommendation other than just gear up, do good preparation, and make sure to not camp. Try to stay in cabins and get warm between every day you're going to sit on a bike.
Okay,
so it's kind of like a general tip.
Yeah. So now we are touching upon staying in cabins, and my next question, which is kind of in line with that. So one of the first things that people say about Norway, and well, probably I'm one of those, to confess that Norway is really expensive. Yeah, and for someone with a very limited budget, it's a kind of difficult to travel. So do you agree with that Norway is expensive, and how to make your journey actually more affordable and less painful in this sense, so to say?
Well, yes, Norway is expensive. It's kind of like just statistics. Just look at the numbers. If you in Norway, or in general in Europe, food and stuff like that is about 40% cheaper. But in general in Europe, the salaries or the income for people are 60% lower than Norway. So if a Norwegian living in Norway, food isn't that expensive, or being a Norwegian living in Norway, traveling in Norway is not that expensive at all. But for a foreigner going into Norway, if you kind of have 60% lower income than a normal Norwegian, and you're coming to a country that have 40% higher prices and stuff, of course it will be expensive. But we have some really nice privileges here in Norway. We have the right to roam, so you can camp free wherever you want, or to a certain degree. There's some rules you need to look into in case of where to camp and stuff like, not too close to buildings. I'm not going to go too much into details for the rules there, but so you can bring a tent, or you can bring a hammock, and you can sleep for free for your whole journey. And as long as you go into the grocery stores to buy your grocery and try to make your own food, it will be much cheaper than eating out or going to fast food stuff. And yeah, that is really popular these days. And just a little bit of research at the supermarket will give you a much cheaper travel through Norway. And then I don't think that it will be too expensive. And I see that the fuel prices, or the fuel economy down south in Europe, are pretty much similar to what we have in Norway. If you book a cabin at the camping spots or camping sites, like the old wooden cabin, that will be much cheaper than renting a hotel room or a motel room. So if you do a little bit of planning ahead, I don't think Norway will be that expensive to kind of visit. And another thing that is really great in Norway is on two wheels, on a motorbike, you won't pay any toll or taxes on the roads, or the only thing you actually need to pay for is the ferries. But that are just mostly on the west coast, not so much on the east and middle part.
I totally agree with you that this thing about Norway being expensive, it's a little bit of misconception, so to say, because there are ways to get around it. Yeah, like statistically, it is expensive, but because I kind of keep my finances together, right? So at the end of the month, I can see how much I spent, and I was really surprised that because I traveled in Norway several months, that 1 or 2 months my expenses were actually less than in other countries of Europe. Because I was really conscious how to spend my money. Like you said, there are cheaper supermarkets that you can buy some products less. And for example, in the evening, you can get even discount for certain products. And of course, I was not eating out. So I was preparing sandwiches, for example. And because there are so many nice rest areas all along the road, so I could stop at any time, have my nice sandwich, coffee in the flask, and that was it. And then it didn't cost me much.
And in Norway, we have a lot of I'm not sure of the rest places, like a big with the benches and toilets and everything. Yeah, and those are spread all around Norway, so you can stop at and you're even allowed to camp there. So you can pitch your tent at the rest stop. So you have benches, you even have fire pits and stuff going on in some of the places. So you can really have a nice time in Norway and almost not spending money at all. And some of the bakeries, local bakeries, or in a bigger city, you have bakeries. At the end of the day, before they close up, you can get bread or, how to say it, croissant, or I'm not too sure the right word for it, but you can get some bakery for free. They just give it away, so they don't have to throw it away. So yeah, if you like to live a little bit on the economy thing about it, like you say, you are really conscious about what you spend your money on. It can you can actually say you can really spend your time in Norway and go for cheap. But if you like to go into the museums or parks, or but I don't feel that is too expensive. And I went to the Viking Museum, and I was kind of surprised how cheap the entry fee was. And yeah, I don't feel like Norway is that expensive. Of course, hotel rooms or fancy restaurants will cost you a lot of money, but apart from that, no, I don't agree that Norway has to be expensive if you don't want it to be.
So, dear people who listen to us, don't this idea that Norway is expensive, let it not stop you from planning your trip to Norway, because you will miss such a great place if you don't go there.
It kind of surprised me that you said it, because everyone I talk with that has went to Norway or did travel to Norway, the chance, oh, I'm going back. I'm going to travel there more. I was so wrong. I had so many misconceptions, because it's kind of like them. There will always be some stories that are kind of printed into the head of people that we just can't. They need to visit Norway and experience it for themselves before you can kind of get that misconception away. So yeah, travel to Norway, experience Norway, take your time, and do not rush to one tourist place to another. Try to experience all the in-betweens and just suck it all in, because it's an incredible country in so many ways.
Coming further into this topic of some Russians through to some destination, for example, Nordkapp craziness. So most of, I think, at least many of travelers' final destination is Nordkapp. So is it really worthwhile? And if you could pick one place, I mean, I hate this type of question when people ask me, but still, if you would have to pick one place that represents Norway the best, would it be Nordkapp or something else?
No, it wouldn't be Nordkapp, because Nordkapp is or North Cape is a tourist magnet. It is it doesn't represent Norway in any sense at all. It's just the northest place. They have made some kind of tourist magnet that everybody has to go to. So it doesn't represent Norway at all. And the Norwegian culture, the Norwegian people, the Norwegian living and everything, I think it's, for me personally, I would choose Lofoten and Senja. That is by far the best. It's kind of like the small fishing boats, the small fish factories, or that gives take the fish when you come in from sea. It kind of like it kind of represents so much of the Norwegian old culture, and you have some of the Sami people living up there still, and it's I think and all the nature. You have the really extreme nature and the sea, and you have the North Lights the North Lights, and you have the midnight sun in the summer. That is, for me personally, the one spot I would recommend everybody to really visit. I'd rather had people visiting Lofoten and Senja rather than North Cape. But I still do understand that North Cape is like the bucket list place you really need to just see. But for me personally, I like West Cape much better than North Cape.
By the way, West Cape is one of the highlights of my journey, and I'm so glad that I got to know about it already in Norway, and I decided, I'll stop by and check it out. That was really one of the highlights, that's for sure. So I totally agree with you. And Lofoten, absolutely amazing. But I made it to North Cape as well. So bucket list is still.
Yeah, I could check. That's really nice.
But I enjoyed it.
But did you have any good weather out there?
Yes,
the North Cape?
Actually, I was very lucky.
Yeah. Because I was lucky as well. When I was up there for the first time, I had 17 degrees. It was no wind, and it was just. I talked to a friend from the northern part of Norway, and he said under conditions like this, you kind of like, it's once in a lifetime. The one it's kind of like when I was up there for the first time, I just had the best experience ever. So it's kind of like, it kind of colored me to decide that, oh, North Cape is really worth visiting. And I see so many videos and so many people going up there, and it's fog. You can't see shit. It's like, whoa, you spend so many hours riding out there, and you just can't see anything. But it's kind of like, it's also the journey from I'm not sure the name of the place where you start the journey out, but it's quite far to ride from the last city or what it is out to the North Cape. So but the road and the scenic views out to North Cape is quite amazing as well. So it's kind of like a whole experience, not only North Cape, but the whole place there is kind of unique.
Yeah. Then just don't rush for this bow at the end of the road.
No.
Just the whole experience, the whole road is really worthwhile. And I think that the gods of weather really favored us when you were there and when I was there. But believe it or not, when I came there on the bike, actually, to take a photo, and that was the great day. But I spent a few more days around the area, and the next day I came with the people that I met along the way in their motorhome, in their caravan. And the weather, you would not believe this. We could not even walk properly because the wind was so strong and it was almost snowing. I could not believe that it was happening just the next day. So you never know.
Yeah, but and that is also, I get a lot of questions towards the weather in Norway. It's kind of like, oh, when is the best time of year to ride to Norway? And it's not any good time. It's just like, you come here, you are either lucky or you're unlucky. It's kind of like, it's like you have no idea how many times, statistically this time of year, it shouldn't rain, and it's just pouring down the whole month. Yeah. And the next month is kind of just only good weather. Of course, yes, there are some months that are known to have more good weather than bad weather. But still, the weather is fluctuating and are so dynamic here in Norway because of the coastline and everything. I think Norway is the country in the world with the longest coastline. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that, but it's not far from it. So the weather storms and the weather, the high pressure and low pressure are always crushing into each other around Norway. So you have no guarantee for the weather up here. Yeah, but when it's nice weather, you will have the time of your life.
Totally. When I started my journey in Norway, it was already kind of late. It was end of summer, and I was wondering if am I crazy? Maybe it's better to postpone it till the next year. But most of the time I was really lucky, but some days were quite, was quite shitty weather. But also what I realized that while traveling in Norway, you have to be really flexible with your timing. Because when you have a really sharp date that you have to finish your trip, then you're in the trouble. Because somewhere along the road, you might wait a couple of days when the bad weather passes. For example, I was about to ride Atlantic Ocean Road, and I knew that the next 2 days, the weather would be just terrible. But I wanted to take some nice photos, and to enjoy my ride on this Atlantic Ocean Road. And I just waited. In the town nearby for a couple of days. Then the weather was okay. I went there, I posted nice photos, and people told me, oh, you were so lucky with the weather. I said, no, I wasn't lucky. I was waiting for this weather.
Yeah, and that's a huge difference between getting lucky, because I see that as well. Every time I listen on or I read on Facebook, or I read in different motorcycle groups or on forums or stuff like that, I see that everybody's kind of like, how far can I go each day? How far could I travel in that amount of time? And it's kind of like, for me, that is kind of missing the point, because the time or the amount of kilometers or miles you do every day should not be the reason why you ride, because there's so many things in between you will miss because you're rushing to get to that point. So like you said, if you come to a place you really know are beautiful, or you had heard or read about, you should, just like you say, take the time, stop, and wait for the weather. But yes, I do understand in today's life, everybody's so busy. We have 2 weeks off at work, so we need to make the most out of it. But it's like, if you go to Norway and if you have to stop at Trondheim, or you have to stop on the middle of the road or the trip because the weather is bad, just enjoy the part there and wait for it, or even go south again. Don't stress all the way to North Cape just to ride through terrible weather, just to be on North Cape. You will miss out on so much. Just have a backup plan. If the weather is really poor, who the hell would spend 2 weeks riding in rain if they could spend 2 weeks in nice weather on the southern part of Norway. For me, that is crazy, but still, I do understand people really want to go up there or really want to go to a certain place. But here in Norway, you really need to have flexibility in case of the weather or like time, like you say.
So far, we talked about nature in Norway, and I'm sure that we can talk about it for many more hours more.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about people in Norway. So you, as a Norwegian, can tell us a lot of interesting things. So who are typical Norwegians, and how to approach them to have the best experience in Norway, especially for us as foreigners?
Oh, I think really a lot of people have really want us to be Vikings, still be that little, like the rawness and the high, tall people with the muscular stuff. And I do think
I'm one of those people, so I'm very curious about your answer now.
No, but Norwegians, we are quite humble and honest to so we don't like to make too much fuss about ourselves. We kind of like the simple, quiet life, and we are quite spoiled when it comes to incomes, and we're kind of a rich country, so a lot of us has more than enough to spend. So, but we don't like to brag, and we are in general a really loving and caring community and caring people. But of course, you have different variation in that regard as well. But the most Norwegian people are also afraid of changes. We are really into our stuck routine. So some people have a hard time opening up to strangers. But I do see a pattern that people that are used to travel a lot and relying on other people hospitality are easier to open up to foreigners in the same way. But people that are only living in Norway or only stayed in Norway can be a little bit tough to get close to. But if a Norwegian says to you that you should come visit me, it's not like I feel some of Americans, or it's kind of like, oh, you have to come visit me, and they don't mean it. If I tell you have to come and spend time with me, I really mean it. It's like the genuine and honest answer. So I feel we are really honest about those things. We don't say stuff we don't mean normally. If we say something to you, we mean it from the bottom of our hearts.
Wow, that's great.
But still, I think, and another thing I just popped in my mind now is that a lot of the misconception is that you hear a lot of Norwegians are really, or do make themselves understand pretty good in English, but there's quite a lot of older people in Norway that don't speak or understand English. So the common mistake to do in Norway is to just think that every Norwegian knows English. So that can be so you should always confront them in a little, kind of like a respectful manner, and you will try to start a talk, and normally you will get help. But it's nice to have a not too forward-going approach when you reach out to some of the Norwegians.
Yeah, I can say that I had a really great experience with Norwegian people. They were really helpful because very often I'm stopping just at the side of the road to take a photo, to enjoy the scenery. And it was quite a few times that people, with Norwegian number plates, they stopped to check if I needed something, if I needed any help. And it was really good. I felt really secure and safe. I just felt that if anything happens, I will immediately get help from people. And that was really great.
Yeah, and another tip is actually to if you have a problem in Norway, always when you ask for help, always say that I have this problem. It looks like something you could solve for me, or this is maybe something you can solve. Be a little bit smart about the way you approach the problem, and people, of course, I can help you. Everybody want to show off that I are good at stuff. So we are Norwegian are really easy to be lured into reverse psychology. I think that is the English word for it.
Okay.
So trick us into helping you. It will be everything will be sorted.
Oh, that's great. I will keep that in mind for the next time I come to Norway.
You see, I have a flat tire.
And I have a feeling that you might help me with that.
Yeah, yeah. Go away. I will show you. And of course, traveling in a group will be people with. It's easier to travel alone. It's much easier to kind of reach out to people when you're alone, contra if you are going in a larger groups. And
that's why I travel always alone.
Yeah. yeah, but it's true. It's kind of like that wherever you go. I think if you're in a group, that's much harder to reach out and get the
Are there any things that you are not supposed to do? Some kind of rules or taboos that you have to be aware of while traveling in Norway?
You know, when you sent me the question, just to take a look at what you are gonna ask me, just was a little bit prepared. I got I really had to think about that question because I can't think of anything that you really shouldn't do in Norway. Like I did a research online as well, tried to see if there was anything kind of like the other people who had visited Norway to feel like they have experience with it. And I saw somebody talking, you shouldn't talk negative about our king or monarchy and stuff like that. No, that is totally fine. You can joke about everything when it comes to Norwegians.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see, I have never seen or heard it. The only thing it's like common courtesy. Treat us with respect. It's kind of like that. Treat us like we were one of your own. You go back home. Don't sit in a restaurant shouting out and screaming in your phone and be rude. Just like don't be rude and everybody and be respectful. There is not you can do about anything here. I don't see. For me, I can't think of anything, to be honest.
Yeah, just this universal rule that is applied to every part of the world, and this golden Bible rule: treat everyone like you want to be treated by themselves. And you will not get wrong with that. Yeah. Okay, Thomas, let's talk a little bit about yourself, not about Norway in general, but about Thomas Hansen. No, seriously. Now I'm posting some videos from my journey in Norway, and sometimes you are part of them, and I receive many comments. Oh, you met Thomas Hansen? That's great. He's a great guy. You're so lucky. So you are really well known in Norway, in Scandinavia, and all around the world. So it would be great to know a little bit about yourself as a person. But first of all, traditional question for every motorcyclist: how did you get into motorcycling? How did it start? What inspired you?
I'm not quite sure what fueled that flame, but I know that my father had been a car salesman for most of his life. But when I was a toddler, he worked at the place where they sold motorcycles. So that was kind of like the first. I'm not sure if I remember my brother's story or if I remember it for myself. It's because it's so long ago, but I do think I remember he started up one of the bikes inside the shop and he revved the engine, and from that moment it was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna one day. And when I was a kid, over my bed I had a huge poster of a motorcycle, so it was kind of like it's always been there, and my family and myself has always been into traveling and Norwegian nature and all that thing. So it's kind of like being a motorcyclist or finally taking a license for a motorcycle has kind of like always been a dream of mine since I was a little kid, but I didn't have the time and money to do it before I was just above 21, 22 years old, I think, if I'm not remembering incorrectly. And from that moment on, when I first sat on the bike, it was just, yeah, I'm going to do this forever. This is what I really love doing. Yeah.
And never regretted about it since that time.
No, it's been so rewarding in so many ways. I meet so many people, and I met so many people. I have get friends. It's like the community, the motorcycle community. I feel like a part of that community has died a little bit now. But when I started out motorcycling for the first time, the community was so much more including. It wasn't so much internet stuff. It was more like we just met up at the gas station here and there, and special places around the country, and everybody had one bond that connected us in a certain way. I also think it's kind of like I've always been a nomad, or I'm not sure if that is the right word. I always been a traveler. I always liked learning to know new people. I always like to learn new food, new culture. For me, sharing has been a really great gift, or not a gift. It's kind of like I always had a really high pleasure of sharing with others. So the community going into the motorcycle, we share different routes, we share different knowledge, we share the bikes and technical stuff. It's kind of like that thing, just and that is probably why I do what I do for a living. It's kind of like helping other out, kind of being a part of that whole thing has always been really a huge interest of mine.
So let's continue with that. What do you do for the living? So what else are you involved in apart from motorcycling, your other interests and hobbies? Who is Thomas Hansen as an ordinary person?
I always dread this question because you see, we Norwegian, we don't like to brag. And I feel like every time I talk about what I do and what I don't do, it's kind of like I feel like bragging, but yeah, it's really hard to talk about yourself in that way, especially for me. But still, I work as a firefighter here in Bergen, and a user rescue leader. It's like the urban search and rescue team. We have a special group here in Bergen that does that kind of stuff. And I've been working as a firefighter for quite some time. And as hobbies, of course, motorcycle is one of my biggest passion, and photography and videography is kind of growing to be one of my probably biggest passions as well. And I did a lot of training. Now I'm just doing martial arts. I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I'm into wood carving, and of course everything that has with natures, and like camping, like hiking, and all that stuff is kind of fuel my fire to get around and have a good time. I really enjoy the simple life, just spending time in nature, quiet down, just relaxing, I enjoy my own company, kind of, in a way.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But there's so many things that you're involved in. Are you sure that you have 24 hours per day only? Maybe you have some trick.
Yeah. No, it's I like to have I like to do always be in constant motion. I like to travel. I like to do stuff because it makes me really creative. It makes me get fuel for my creative outlet. So, and that's why part of why I do like photography and videography so much, is to kind of like give myself a way to expression my creativity, or in a way.
Yeah, we talked a little bit before we started recording that during 4 or 5 months when the weather is not so favorable for riding, traveling in Norway, you are doing something else. So can you tell us more about it?
Like you said, people were talking to your videos, and you met Thomas Hansen and stuff like that, and that is a really humble experience, because I see that I get recognized even more now, because I started doing YouTube. I started sharing my passion for videography and my motorcycle journeys, and people really hooked on that. I think that people really enjoyed some of my videos. So I feel like that has just grown out of proportions. I just feel it's so humbling to have people tuning in from around the world looking at what I do, and it just gave me I would just really got into videography and photography. I was thinking this is a passion that I really want to evolve and do more of. So and I have a couple of friends that I train with that do video and photography as well. So we found out that we just get together, start a production company, and see what we can take it. So we're just trying to build up a portfolio, trying to get to contact with different brands and different companies to try to make them commercial videos, just to have to work with video things and technical stuff in between the season. So I think I'm going to do a huge leap deeper into the video stuff and try to become even better at the audio, the lighting, everything. It's just like open a whole new world. So maybe one day I could make a living out of it. I'm not sure, but still, it's really fun to do and work with.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really enjoy your videos on your YouTube channel. They're very informative and very
Thank
inspiring. And definitely they will be added the link to your video channel in our interview. So I wish you all the best of luck and in your new ideas. Yeah. Also, I know that you are ambassador of some brands. Can you tell more about that and how these products maybe can help in traveling in Norway?
I think many people have an idea that I have are an ambassador for many products, but I'm actually not. I kind of decline everything.
Okay.
So there's only one brand that I'm at this day ambassador for, and that is Amok Equipment.
Okay.
That is a Norwegian brand that makes hammocks. It's quite unique without the traditional banana shape. It's more like you can lying flat out. So because it's a Norwegian company, I really like the guys that and the mentality and everything around Amok Equipment are so easygoing, easy living, and it's not like spam all my social media. You have to look at this, you have to buy this. It's more like they have a really how to say it, low they don't want to make a big fuss out of it. It's just like they know they have a good brand, they know that it's good quality, so they try to just have a normal approach to people and making people interested to buy, not like pushing it out to everyone. So I just love it kind of, I feel like Amok represent Norwegians through branding, if that makes any sense. And I'm not a huge fan of, like, I see most people are into that everything is evolving around the products. It's kind of like when I see a product review with people got it for free or are paid to do it, it's like, how real is it? How genuine is it? I do understand that people has to do it to earn money. I do understand that the big brands reach into each and everyone's pocket through their phone. And I know that this is a completely new way of reaching out to people and to have specific branding kind of right through the right people. But for me, I don't want to be a part of that. Don't want my channel or my work to be around that, because I feel like if I was paid from a lot or get a lot of stuff for free, my integrity or my trust wouldn't be so high. When I go to a person and I say, you really need to try this, people know that I'm genuine. If they know I was paid by 4 or 5 different companies, it's like, okay, how honest are you about this? So it's only one brand I'm working with at the time. Maybe that would change, because I see there's after so many years on the road and so many years traveling around in Norway, I found some brands that I really love and I would swear to myself to use. But almost everything I own today is bought for my own money.
That's a really good point that you made, that first is the integrity and your values. And if this product matches that, then this is a secondary, that's not the priority. And I totally agree with you. Yeah. Well, I want to say to our listeners that I'm very interested in the brand that Thomas represents, this hammock, because I'm looking for the equipment for my next stretch of my journey. And actually, we were talking what Thomas could recommend. So, and thank you so much to you for sending me actually this product. I'm waiting for it, and as soon as I receive and test it, I will give you my honest feedback.
That is really good.
And to other people as well. So thanks a lot.
And I don't want anything else. I really don't want the honest opinion, because I know myself and I know personally a lot of people that just love those hammocks, and I know it's a good brand, but it's always like I rather have the honest opinion that are paid opinion about it. So for you trying the product and you testing it out, and if you then come to me and say, well, you know, Thomas, this isn't for me, that is totally fine. It is much better that than to say, oh, it was really fantastic, and you don't mean it. Because if you really love something, then you would really recommend it, and then you would be really honest about it, your approach for it. And I don't work as a salesman for in that regard for Amok equipment. I'm just an ambassador. So for me, it's more like just I own the Amok equipment. I actually reached out to them a year before I actually got my first hammock, because they didn't make a large version of it. The small version was only, it was recommended up to 190 or something, and I'm 2 meters tall, so I wouldn't fit. I had a friend who had a hammock, and I was just completely in love with it, and I need to get me one of those, but it didn't fit me. So I sent them a message and asked them, can you make a longer version of it? It wasn't their plan. And 1 year later, they actually released a hammock that was long enough. It's called extra large. And I bought one, and I had it for 1 year or 1.5. And then I get in contact with some people that eventually get me in contact with Amok, and they represented and wanted for me to be an ambassador for them. So, and then it was it. Yes, no problem. Because I know how well the project was. And so, yeah, I really hope you like it, because it's the best pad I own, to be honest.
But I'm very looking forward to test it, and be sure that I will give you my honest opinion.
Yes, I trust you will.
Thomas, that was such a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure that there are many, many more questions that we can discuss for more hours. Yeah, but probably I don't want to take more of your time. I just ask for your permission to let our listeners write down some questions in the comments below these videos, and maybe you could answer them whenever you have some spare minutes.
Oh yeah, okay, no, without a doubt. I will take a look at the comment section, and I will get this. I will try to answer the best I can to any questions you might get to this interview, or any other question people might have around Norway.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I still have one more last question to you.
Yes.
Imagine the aliens come to our planet Earth, and they realize that your skills and your talents exactly what they need on their planet. So you're invited to come over to their planet, and well, you don't have the option to say no, unfortunately. But you can leave the last message to the people on Earth, and everyone will hear that. So what would be that message?
Do what you can't. Yeah, easy. Do what you can't. Just continue to do what you can't, because I feel everybody's striving to be perfect at something, but it's just you just do what you can't. Try, fail, do it all over again, and just enjoy the process of learning something new. I can't begin to. There was one thing I was completely into when the COVID first get loose. It was that when I'm getting out of this, after this year of lockdown or whatever you will call it, I would come out of it with one new skill or something new I would learn. So I felt like, okay, learn to play the guitar, learn to throw an axe, learn to knit. I don't care. Do something that you didn't do before. So do what you can. Just I think I could elaborate that question thing for hours, but I think that just dare to fail and do what you can't.
Yeah,
that is my best recommendation for everyone.
That is amazing.
Just look at me now. I'm sitting here being interviewed by one of my biggest inspirations on motorcycle traveling, and it's like, how the hell did I end up here? Yes, because I was so lucky. I dared to try. I dared to fail. I did what I couldn't. I started a YouTube channel. I started making videos. I started to become better at making videos. I started posting pictures on Instagram. I started helping out people with the journeys in Norway. And just all of a sudden, I meet you live down at Ride, my local motorcycle dealer. And yeah, here we are. It's amazing. It's been a journey you wouldn't believe. For me, I'm honored.
No, Thomas, I mean, I'm very humbled to hear these words, but I'm honored to meet you, seriously. And you are really, really great inspiration, even in terms of, traveling, of course, and video making, because I'm trying to step a little bit into that. I'm not on, on any level yet, but I mean, yeah. I'm trying to do what I cannot. So this message is just hits me perfectly. So thank you for this. I think this was question just for me, especially, not even for everyone. Of course, enjoy it and take advantage of that too. But this is really the message for myself. Thanks a lot.
Of course, there are ups and downs, but if you don't try it, if you don't do it, if you don't fail or try it again, you will be stuck and don't do anything. And there's so many people out there that has so huge potential of doing great stuff, but they're afraid to fail, or they're afraid to somebody would question their skill level. I'm not sure. It's just like, for me, get out there, try something completely different. And a little towards that, when you do something like me for video editing, it's been kind of like a passion of mine. It's really, but I'm obsessed to make this good. And I understand that, okay, this is something I can be good at. This is something I can do better. And I try to fail and try to fail. And I come to a certain point where things just kind of like I was kind of stuck. I didn't have any creative ideas. So then I just started wood carving out of everything. It's just, I started wood carving. Wow. And I was a complete beginner at something new again. And it was so relieving. It was just like, it gave me so much joy to be completely a beginner again. So every time I get in a phase in my life now where I'm kind of stuck or demotivated or stuff, I try something completely new. So like the other day, I started drawing, and I can't draw for shit. I promise you that. I can't draw, nothing. It was just like, whoa, it's so nice to be a complete beginner again. It's just, yeah. So, and the first wooden spoon, I don't have it here, but it went from this to, I'm not sure if the camera will catch it, but it went from this to this in just a couple of months. So it's just like, you never know what your passion are if you don't try something new.
So let's do what we cannot. Let's dare to fail and to do it again until we are good at it, and then try again something new. That's incredible. Thanks a lot for all the advice, for all the inspiration, for your time, Thomas. That's really precious. And
thank you, Anna. I'm really appreciate it.
So I hope that we will meet again, either in Norway or somewhere else in the world. Have a great day today. Have a great year ahead. And all your dreams coming true, all your ideas have been accomplished. I will follow as well your progress with videography and photography and your travels. And until we see each other again in real life.
Yeah, that is brilliant. See you. Bye.
I really enjoyed talking to Thomas again and appreciate all his tips and advice and his words of wisdom. If you have other questions to Thomas, feel free to write them down in the comments under this video, and Thomas promised to have a look into them. Also, check out and subscribe to his YouTube channel, because he has many interesting videos about traveling in Norway and traveling in general. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you will see many more interesting interviews and conversations with amazing people I get to know along the way.